believes the Book of Job is some remnant of that.
Okay, yeah, I never heard the gap theory. That's kind of interesting.
It's crazy bullshit. It's crazy bullshit, but could be an awesome sci-fi movie.
So are you
a fantastic sci-fi movie?
Are you a Christian?
I'm a Christian.
No.
I'm not a gap theorist or a young Earth creationist. I'm not anything like that. But I am a Christian though.
What type of, are you Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, Christian?
Anglican.
Anglican? So what does that mean? You believe the Bible or no?
I believe the Bible is inspired, not 100% literally true all the time. But I believe it's true, not literally true, but true, if that makes sense.
And, well, if you can give me one example of that.
Well, like, for example, there is good scriptural reason to believe that Paul believed that Adam and Eve were a real person.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe that Paul probably believed that, even though Genesis probably doesn't really say that, because if you go back to, I think it was the Hebrew, Adam means man. So it's probably a metaphor for whoever the first conscious human beings were, did something bad and caused the fall of creation. And so it's not literal Adam and Eve, but it's a first man and a first woman messed up, is what the story is supposed to represent, but not literally be true of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying the whole thing, including the snake and all that stuff, is metaphoric?
Yeah, especially the snake stuff, the snake and the serpent and the whatnot. All that's imagery and beautiful to convey a point versus a literal fact or a true story.
Oh, so you do believe Jesus is a metaphor? Like Jesus is just, Bishop Shelby Long would say Jesus is a metaphor. Mm-hmm. You believe that?
Well, there is a strong consensus in academia that Jesus was a real person. And so Jesus is not so much a metaphor, but Jesus isn't a metaphor, although some things about his life could have been exaggerated.
Yeah, how about the miracles then? Are those metaphors then?
The miracles,
the natural ones, like walking on water, turning water into wine, rising from the dead.
Those are true. Those I would consider true, yeah.
So why would you consider those true when they're just as far-fetched as Adam and Eve and snakes talking? I mean, if you don't believe in snakes talking, how do you believe in Matthew 27 with zombies rising from the dead and hanging out in the graveyard for 3 days and then going into Jerusalem hanging out? I mean, how could you say, well, I don't believe snakes talk, but I do believe
zombies?
Yeah,
zombies.
Yeah, zombies per se, supernaturally raised. One of the meanings of zombies is supernaturally raised. So you believe these dead bones were supernaturally raised? Yeah.
No. Jesus couldn't have just been diseased and risen from the dead. Anywho.
No. Matthew 27.
I'm just joking there. I'm just joking.
Oh no, but Matthew 27. The graves open. It said Jesus was on the cross. The graves open, and the dead came from the graves, and they hung around in the cemetery.
Matthew where?
Yeah, it's Matthew 27, right? Let me get my Bible out. Let the atheists get the Bible out.
The atheists get the Bible out.
Hey, hang on a second. I want to give you correct. I do believe it was. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, it's Matthew 27. I'll read it. Yeah, 27:50. I'll read it to you. It says Matthew 27, verse 50. It says, "Then Jesus shouted out again, and he gave up the spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, rocks split apart, and tombs opened. The bodies of many godly men and women who had died were raised from the dead. After Jesus' resurrection, they left the cemetery and went into the holy city of Jerusalem and appeared to many people." So do you really believe that dead people, skeleton mummies came alive, hung around till Jesus was resurrected, and then they went into the city? You believe that? Matthew 27:50.
That seems to be a foreshadowing of Judgment Day, and it's probably not literal.
It doesn't say that. It says Jesus cried out, gave up the ghost, and it goes right into that and right back to the resurrection. I mean,
it is an odd. It's an odd passage.
Okay.
I will give you that. I've never considered it in the way you're talking about. Or should the tombs broke open, and the bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. That could also mean a metaphor for the gates of heaven opened up. But,
it says dead people.
There's so much in the... Well, that's a very Protestant way of looking at the Bible.
I mean, that's what it says. I mean, if you're going to do that, then obviously the next move is that when people just say, hey, well, all these miracles are just metaphors, right? They're just as far-fetched as that one.
That's true.
And so,
honestly, this is the first time this particular passage has been brought to my attention. So I'd have to look into this, into some commentaries and studies on the language of the original language and stuff like that.
Yeah, because okay, not to cut you off, but the very next verse says, the Roman officers and the other soldiers at the crucifixion were terrified by the earthquake and all that had happened. So it's like, he's talking about Jesus shouted again, gave up the ghost, zombies raised from the dead, went to Jerusalem, and right back to, hey, the Roman officers were there too, man. They were terrified. So it seems odd that they would stick that in there as a metaphor. 2 sentences, then back to reality. That just seems odd.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That is a case, but what is your basis for calling that so ridiculous?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, skeleton mummies coming to life and hanging out in the cemetery for a day and a half, and then going into the city. You don't think that's odd?
That's not as ridiculous as aliens, right?
No. That's way more ridiculous. Mummies, bones, skeletons coming to life. Putting meat up, and they're hanging around in the cemetery until Jesus is resurrected, and then they go into the city of Jerusalem. You don't find that odd? Bones, rotted bones, mummies coming to life and hanging out in the cemetery, and then walking into the city a day and a half later. That's a bit odd to me. I'd believe in space aliens before that.
Yeah.
But then Christianity's a little odd anyway, so.
Well, we're all a little odd.
No, Christianity's more than a little odd, because when you got a superhero character born of a virgin, flying in the air, like look at Acts 1:9. If you look at Acts 1:9, Jesus floats into the sky as his disciples wave to him. He floats up and disappears into a rain cloud. I mean, do you call that logical? This is a flesh and bone man disappearing into a rain cloud. You call that believable?
Well, I think if you're going to establish whether or not miracles happen or whether or not they do happen, you're going to have to go back and backtrack as to whether or not divine can happen, whether or not divine experiences can happen. You're obviously going to say no. You're going to say that no because you already believe God doesn't exist. Now, there are people who will take that as like, oh, we just got to assume God. No, you can't really do that. You kind of got to get back to the God debate and say, is there a God who likes to interact with this world and do crazy shit or not?
No, but hang on. Just let's stick to Acts 1:9, right? You don't think that's odd that a grown man, flew in the air and disappeared to a rain cloud?
The Son of God did what he wanted.
It was a flesh and bone man. It was a flesh and bone man disappeared into a physical rain cloud. You don't find that's odd?
Well, he was also walking through walls and turning water into wine.
You're right. In Luke, right? Come on. A flesh and bone man.
If you're going to get hung up on Christianity, I think that's the least of your worries about getting hung up on Christianity. I think that should be the least of your problems.
No, that's the most, because
there are things
that denies.
That's your biggest problem.
That denies science, dude. That denies everything we know about science and medicine. A grown man walking through walls? Come on, dude. That denies modernity, man. That's my issue with it, man. Is those freaking miracles, man. It's like, come on, dude. You can't go to science and modernity in medicine and say, yeah, this guy, Jesus, flesh and bone, walked through walls and locked doors and disappeared into the sky in a rain cloud. Come on. That's fiction. I see that every day in fiction movies. Come on. That's not reality. That's why I reject Christianity.
So is that your first hang-up? Is that your only hang-up?
Oh yeah, the miracles, absolutely. Well, no, it's, hang on.
Absolutely only hang out on
okay,
Christianity.
I take that back. There's two. That's one of them. The miracles, and
Are we going to come back later and say there's three?
No. There's two main ones because I know I've debated Greg Gucko.
There's too many. Okay, I get you.
Hey,
TOO, not TWO. I get you.
Hey, there's the number two. The other one is no God can be proven to be real. Any scientist speaking as a scientist would say, I back Brett strong. No scientist can sit here and say empirically, mathematically, or experimentally there is a God. No scientist can say that.
No scientist?
No scientist will ever...
Francis Bacon, he was a scientist.
I said, no. I said speaking as a scientist, no scientist can say that they can prove that God exists.
Speaking as a scientist.
As a scientist, not as an individual apart from science, but speaking as a scientist, they all back atheists. They all back Brett Strong. Like, yeah, you cannot prove any God exists. No scientist speaking as a scientist.
All back Brett Strong, really?
Yeah, atheist. I know, I spoke to Fuzz Rana 3 weeks ago, and he admitted.
Which one is he? I don't know him.
Dude, he's one.
I actually don't know a lot of the people in the YouTube community because
he's not YouTube. Dr. Fuzz Rana is one of the top Christian scientists in the world. Just Google Fuzz Rana. Dr. Fuzz Rana is one of the top scientists in the world, and he's a Christian apologist. And I spoke to him on KKLA radio.
I would probably go with that.
So those are my two things. You can't
necessarily, because how. What would... I don't like this question because it's a trick question, but honestly, what would convince you of God?
Oh, easy. That's not a trick question. The Bible. What's done on paper?
The Bible would...
No. Hang on a second. What's done inside the fictional pages called the Bible? God comes down, descends on a mountain, trumpets roar, clouds, he's speaking. The Israelites say, holy shit, Moses, don't let him come down ever again. Stuff like that. When he came down, talked to Abraham, and the guys wanted to have anal sex with his two angels, and he said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Fire is going to come out from heaven, destroy a city. Boom, it happened.
So stuff like that happened all the time, you would believe it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, here's another one.
So if you could see stuff like that, okay.
Okay, no, I'm going to use your Bible again. Acts 1:1-9. Jesus appeared to his disciples again and again and again, and he ate with them to prove to them he was alive and real. I want that.
So why don't you believe the disciples?
Because the disciples go directly against science, directly against modern technology and medicine.
But they're giving the exact proof that you want, actually.
No, they're not. I want the same proof Thomas got.
No, they are. They got the proof that you wanted.
No.
How are they going to convince everybody else?
You can't say.
You just said that you would accept it and believe it if, like, miracles like God being with you, like fire and brimstone, Jesus coming down and eating with them. You specifically said that you would believe if you had those same experiences.
Yeah, I said if I had those same experiences. If Jesus came down and hung out with me and my friends.
Here's the thing. You meet someone who says they had that experience. Are you going to discount that immediately?
Absolutely. I said me. I said that...
Jack Harkness is here.
No.
Dude, you're wasting your time.
Hey, okay, Jacob...
Trust me, you're wasting your time. Nothing you say will get through his head.
Jacob has problems, so...
Cavalry has arrived.
Jacob has issues, so... and he refused to debate me again on his double effect.
Of course I refuse to debate you. You're a closed-minded dickhead.
See, you're a typical Christian. You see?
I'm just kidding.
No. You make Christianity so inviting. It's no wonder up to 95% of Christians leave Christianity by college. People like you, Jacob. You're a perfect example.
You're a college graduate, right?
No, it doesn't matter, man. Your attitude and the way you speak to people, it's no wonder 95% of the youth dump.
You're a closed-minded person. You're basically a fundamentalist in atheist clothing.
Yeah, no, go ahead. That's why Christianity's falling apart, dude. Up to 95%.
Christianity, it has something to do with you.
Up to 95%.
Think that when people debate you, people just don't want to deal with you.
Oh, I speak the truth.
Every time we say something goes through one ear and out the other.
Okay, what have you said, Jacob? Oh, hang on 1 second. Give me a minute. I gotta come back. Hang on, you guys. Keep talking. I'm gonna join you in a minute. Give me a minute.
Do you remember our abortion debate, Brett? Do you remember our abortion debate? Then again, I'm hesitant to call it a quote-unquote debate because of how, like, you take everything I say and you twist my words, and then you make a couple of response videos where you make this audacious claim where you claim that you quote-unquote pwned me, even though you take many of my statements out of context and misconstrue many of what I said.
He stepped away from it. It's okay. Jack Harkness is here. Thank you, my youth pastor.
Give him the Alvin Plant argument again.
Hi, Jack.
It's a sexy circle. I'm surprised he's never heard that. I don't.
Yo, I'm back. Hey, Jack, what's up, baby?
What's going on?
Dude, I got your email. I got home and I was like, whoa. I was like, I tried to get on, and your buddies I've never met, they're like, who in the heck is Brett Strong? I'm like, is that Jack? Like, no, he went to sleep. Good to see you, bro.
Hey, how's it going? So
Yeah.
I came in and you and Roman Missiles were screaming at each other.
No,
That was
We're always screaming at each other.
You know, Roman Missile is a horrible representative of Christianity and a perfect example of why Christianity is failing amongst the youth.
I don't consider myself youth unless.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
Look at him. The way he talks to people, disrespectful, yell, swearing, cursing. He can't prove God exists. He can't prove anything.
I need to prove to you that God exists.
Yeah, because look.
don't need to.
I mean, look at you, Roman Missile. I mean, come on, man. The way you speak is a mess. You're a horrible representative of Christianity. I mean, no Christian apostles would have you on their show. Hey, the way you speak, Roman Missile. Hey, the Roman Missile. Let me tell you for a fact. The way you speak, no Christian apostles would have you on their show or team. That's a fact.
I'm not a Christian apologist.
But why does that matter? Why does that matter, Brett? Whether he's a Christian apologist or that if any apologist.
Oh no. What I'm saying is that he's a the way he speaks, disrespectful. You know, swearing, cursing, downgrading.
I never declared myself.
I think if I gave Roman Missile some of my Vicodin, he'd be fine.
Yeah, I think he does need Vicodin. I think Roman Missile does need Vicodin.
But Jacob is not an apologist. That's your name, right?
No,
Jacob Roman. It's Roman Missile. Okay,
that's my name.
Yeah, I don't think he's an apologist.
No, yes, he is.
He's just more of a Catholic.
No,
He's a regular guy like you and me. He's
No.
a 7-Eleven employee.
No,
He's a regular guy like
exactly,
you and me.
exactly.
Trying to get by.
No, if you're promoting Christianity, you're an apologist. That's just the way it is.
No, that's complete utter BS.
That's a very Protestant view you hold.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
fact.
not a Protestant.
So then.
I was talking about Brett.
So then, if that's true though, Brett, is Joel Osteen a Christian apologist?
Yeah, all of them are. All Christians are.
Good. I actually agree with you. Cool. Okay, go ahead, Roman.
You know, Joel Osteen is a heretic, but go on.
He would call you a heretic too, Roman Missile.
Wait a minute, Roman. Why would you ever think that he is a heretic?
Get him, Noah.
It's the prosperity gospel.
Get him,
You
Noah.
don't hold to the prosperity gospel?
No, it's complete horse crap. It's heretical.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a debate about this, Roman Missiles.
Do it right now.
I'll let you.
Do it right now.
I'll let you discuss with Brett Strong. No, it's okay.
No.
He's not an apologist.
Noah, go ahead
Okay,
and teach.
you know what, Brett? I'm going to ask you a question. What would convince you that I am not an asshole?
Oh, start, saying fuck you and you're an asshole and this, just conversate like normal people. That's all. Like we were doing with the guy, I don't know who I was talking to, but we were having a regular conversation. Nobody was swearing at each other saying you're an asshole and fuck you and, you're an idiot. We're just like, hey, this is why I don't believe this is, you come in like, fuck you, asshole, motherfucker. Wow, I mean,
I come
okay.
in and tell you that you're an asshole.
Yeah, well, you started swearing, so.
But he has a beard.
How about this? How about
Beards are
I
awesome.
apologize? Would you accept my apology?
Oh, absolutely.
Beards give you power.
Fine, I apologize then. Let's start over.
Okay, good. That's excellent. Hey, hang on a second. Who was that guy I was talking to in the beginning before you came in, Roman Missile? Yeah,
that was me. But
Michael.
I think Roman Missile wants to talk.
Okay, go ahead, Roman Missile.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, Michael, go ahead. Okay, while you think about that, me and Michael were discussing, like I said, what would make it believe in God and Jesus? What happened in the Bible? God appeared to Adam and Eve, if you want to believe it's true. He spoke to them. God came down on the mountain and spoke to Israel. Jesus came in the flesh repeatedly. So I would have to have one of those experiences with my buddies. You know, Jesus coming out, hanging out with us, eating dinner for 40 days. Until we were convinced, or God coming down before United States of America on Mount St. Helen and saying, "Hey, I'm God, cut it out." So yeah, what's in the Bible would convince me in reality if it happened in reality.
What if I were to convince you that I have that same experience every week at a Sunday liturgy?
No, you couldn't convince me. I would say that you're hallucinating. You're being delusional.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is this. Is there nothing that will convince you?
I just told you what could convince me. The Bible in reality. Not the Bible as a fictional source of, but reality. God coming out on Mount St. Helen before the entire United States like he did.
Only Mount St. Helen? How would you define reality?
Reality? Really? Like him
what
coming...
Is your metaphysical, what is your metaphysics?
Okay, like Obama giving a speech before 50,000 people at Washington, D.C. That same scenario, having God come down in the sky and give a speech before 50,000 people, and I'm one of them. That would convince me God is real. And he did it.
Did you say Mount St. Helens is important for this
stuff? I'm sorry to interrupt. Brett, how would you define God? What is God in your view?
Well, no, you know what? That's interesting, everybody, because if you look at the Bible, God is everything. I mean, he came down as a physical being, as a man, and hung out with Abraham. He came down and wrestled with Jacob and gave him a broken hip. His son came down, Jesus in the flesh. So the Jesus and God of the Old Testament both manifest themselves in the flesh. So yeah, God could be flesh, or you can call him immaterial, all-powerful. He's everything, man, according to the Bible.
You're not answering my question. How would you define God?
As the Bible, everything. He comes down in spirit.
I'm not asking for the Bible.
You define God as the Bible?
I define God as, because you believe in the Christian God. The Christian God...
I believe God is being, if that's what you mean.
No. But the Christian God comes down in all forms in the Bible. He comes down as spirit over Mount Sinai. He came down as a man to Abraham and Jacob. He came down, I don't know what situation he was when he spoke to Adam and Eve, but he's came down physical, flesh, spirit, everything. So that's God. Everything the Bible presents him. And that God is not real.
So you agree that God's essence is existence, correct?
Like I said, I just gave you my definition. The Bible.
I'm asking you. Do you believe God is being itself?
I don't know what you mean by that.
What I'm saying that God is the foundation of all being, of all sentience.
No, I don't believe that. No.
So you don't know the philosophical questions regarding that idea?
No. I don't need philosophical, all that stuff. I said
Why?
I want what the Bible says happen in reality.
You do know that when you're talking to someone like me, I don't take just the Bible. I also have a church tradition that's around 2,000 years old.
Yeah, and I don't buy any of it. That's
fine, but that doesn't answer my question. If you're going to talk to someone who has an apostolic view of God, you're going to have to engage with that the philosophy.
No, and I would say philosophy.
You're not talking to Jack Harkness. You're talking to Roman Missile.
Okay,
Catholic.
Roman Missile. I would say if you're going to talk philosophy, okay, Gary Gutting, professor at Notre Dame, William Lane Craig calls him one of the top philosophers of the last 50 years, if not the last 100 years. Gary Gutting.
She's up there with Alvin Plant.
No, yeah, no. Hang on. I'm gonna answer you right now. Gary Gutting said that the last 2,000 years, philosophers cannot answer the question, does God exist or not? So if you want to go down, So if
because
you,
they don't have a definition. Because you're not giving me a definition of God. I find satisfactory. You're going by your supposed interpretation of the Bible, whereas I'm going by church tradition that teaches that God is being itself. God is not an entity among entities.
Jacob, I just spoke the Bible to you. The Christian God, according to the Bible, came down in the flesh.
And I have mine because my interpretation is rooted in Catholic tradition.
Okay.
So which one am I going to take? Yours or mine?
Hey, I take the Bible. So if you want to go outside the Bible, then I think that might be a heretic according to some Christians. I'm speaking the Bible here. You're not speaking the Bible. That's the difference. You got an atheist speaking the Bible.
Hold up. There are more Christians than Protestants.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
The Catholic Church is the largest Christian denomination on the entire planet.
And they're arguably the first, depending on who you would talk to. So, they don't only have the Bible, they have apostolic tradition and succession, and authorities through the church and hierarchies and all this other stuff that you don't seem to know about. So before you talk about that, I'd suggest you go study that.
Whoa!
You should be because if you're going to be talking to a Catholic or an Orthodox, and all you're going to do is cite the Bible, a Catholic is just going to look at you and just say, "Oh, you're just citing the Bible." Well, you're not interpreting the Bible correctly because you're not interpreting the Bible in light of tradition.
We don't all have as much faith as Jack Harkness.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment.
Jack Harkness, your faith is fascinating to me.
Well, you know what? We're going to have to
You believe gap
this.
theory, right? Me and Brett were talking about gap theory. You believe that, right?
That's That's a store, as far as I know, right? Like where you get pants.
Jack.
The gap theory.
Sorry.
The theory that there's a gap between Genesis 1 and 2.
Oh yes. Oh, that gap. I thought you meant like the pants. No, yeah, that. Yes, I hold to gap theory. Yes.
Oh, seriously?
See, that's how.
You know what, Roman? You're a Catholic.
That's how Isaiah's a million years old.
You can't say anything. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what's your opinion on evolution?
I think it is a device of Satan to take the youth away from Jesus Christ. There's no evidence for it. It's just a theory. And, it takes a lot of faith to believe it.
Okay, Jack, let's get this clear. In science, the word theory does not mean a guess.
That's exactly what it means.
You're not looking at the same definition as...
I am looking at the Webster's Dictionary right now.
Okay, what is the Webster's Dictionary?
Jacob, I see you laughing.
In the dictionary. It's a little more complicated, but basically it says it's a guess. Hello?
No, I know.
Hey,
look,
Michael, you're laughing.
I love Jack, that's why.
I'm laughing and looking at you, Michael, laughing.
Jack, let me ask you a couple more questions.
All right, go.
How familiar are you with the scientific method?
I'm pretty familiar, I think. Why? Go ahead. What do you mean?
Okay, when we're talking about the scientific method, we are talking about making a hypothesis, and then after that hypothesis, you test to see if this hypothesis is valid. If the hypothesis passes testing, then after a many amount of times, it becomes a theory. Meaning that in science, the word theory does not mean guess. When it comes to theory, it becomes pretty much the same as saying that in science, it's a theory. It means it's a repeatable, testable fact in science. So when we say that the evolution is a theory, it does not mean a guess. It means that it has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, does it mean it
that's
can't
a fact?
be proven? Hold on, let me finish. Jack. Now, I know you're an evangelical and all, but let me tell you how it works. When we're talking about evolutionary theory, in the scientific community, it means that it is more than just a guess. It means it has been proven beyond a sensible doubt. Now, does that mean it can't be refuted? No, that doesn't. Yeah, it can be tested. It has been observed in both laboratories and in the wild. We share most of our genes with other primates and other animals. We also, let me give you a perfect example of how evolution has been proven to be true. If you notice the differences between our primate ancestors, like say for example Homo erectus, if you notice that they had hair, and now today we do not have hair, there's an evolutionary advantage to that, meaning that when we don't have hair, it means that we are able to sweat more, which means we don't have to succumb to a heat stroke like animals with fur do.
But we're still humans. We haven't changed into anything new. We're still humans, and that's not really evolution. And this whole thing about the scientific theory, a theory being something that is is shown with beyond a reasonable doubt, or however you described it. That's not a theory. It's a fact. What you're describing is a fact. It doesn't. It sounds like it's all a Catholic
convention too.
Well, Jack, in theory, in science, theory and fact are pretty much interchangeable.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Why is it silly?
Because a fact is different than a theory, right?
No, in science. No, when you say no, I would recommend.
No. I would recommend Graham Crackeroppy's book on this issue. Listen to me. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. A theory is when you have an idea, a kind of guess towards some specific end that you want to. It's your conclusion. And a fact is basically when you know it to be 100% true. There's no way you could be wrong, right? That's what those mean.
Look, okay, Jack. Look,
I'm serious.
Have you ever heard?
Brett agrees with me. I mean, no, that's it.
Hey, keep going. I'm laughing at Michael laughing.
Have you ever heard of Richard Dawkins?
Jack, you need to take lessons from Veritas.
Look, Jack, have you ever heard of? You guys are interrupting me. I'm trying to teach you science, and you're just there laughing at me.
I take this very seriously. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Richard Dawkins?
He's that really mean British guy, right?
Yes.
Have
you read his book, The Greatest Show on Earth?
I have not, because I do not think evolution is the greatest show on earth. Satan's hangman. It's actually the way.
If I were you, I recommend you pick up a copy of the book at the library, and you'll get an idea of why I say what I've been saying.
Now, does Brett believe in evolution too?
No, go ahead. You guys are having a good time. I'm just enjoying, stepping back. Me and Michael stepping back and letting you guys go at it. So, or Dakota,
it's within faith. I mean, he's a Catholic, so we have differences. But I think it's safe to say we're both Christians. But Brett, do you believe in evolution too?
I really don't care about, I'm a realist. A realist is we're here today, and that's good enough for me.
Wait. So are you saying that you are like me and you don't believe in evolution all the way through and through?
No, I'm saying that I don't even think about it. It's not even on my radar. We're here.
You don't know enough to answer the question. So if someone came up to you and had a gun in your face, let's say someone put a gun up in your nostril and said to you, answer this question. Do you believe in evolution, yes or no?
Can I make one correction?
Yes.
You don't, quote unquote, believe in evolution. You either accept it or
of course you do. You believe it by faith. Anyway, Brett, so would you accept that or not?
Hang on. Roman Missile just asked you a question. Go ahead, Roman Missile. I want to see what he has to say.
I asked a question. Okay, now let me ask Brett. Do you accept the science of evolution, at least?
Honestly, it's not on my radar. I don't, because no one can prove anything about that stuff, so I don't even bother with evolution or anything. So I don't have an answer.
Well, do you at least understand the basics of evolution?
Yeah, but I'm not into that, so we're here. I'm a realist, so how we got here, it's not really my thing. We're here.
Right. Earlier in our discussion, you were talking about that's not scientific.
What's that?
You were talking about the Bible, like, it's not scientific, it's not scientific, that's then, this is now. But and yet you're completely disregarding this evolution thing as if it's not on my radar, it's not on my radar. But that's scientific. That's scientific too.
No, it's not.
Look, okay.
Owned.
Who? No, Matthew 27:50 stands. There's no way you got zombies coming. Everybody read Matthew 27 verse 50. You don't have
scientific zombies.
Hang on, you don't have zombies. No, listen. You don't have zombies coming from the grave, hanging out in the cemetery, and then going into a city. That's not scientific, and that's not modernity. That is some fictional stuff.
They went to the temple, not the city.
Okay.
It says they went in the city of Jerusalem.
Brett, can I ask you some questions?
No, you guys are having a good time with each other, man. I'm enjoying Michael laughing.
I want to ask.
It's all for you, Brett.
No, I want to ask you. Now you're bringing up some interesting stuff. I want to ask you. Do you understand the scientific method?
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
Can you explain to me and Jack how the scientific method works?
No, keep going. Keep going. You guys are having a good time. I'm
We had our
enjoying.
conversation. I'm actually curious about this. We had our conversation. Our conversation's over.
Keep going.
What do you think the scientific method is, Brett? I'd like to know this.
Keep going, guys. I'm enjoying you guys having a conversation. What about Dakota
We're done.
or
We're
Nihilist
done.
or Ryan? Does anybody else want to get in this conversation, like Dakota, whoever she is, and
I don't think Brett
Nihilist?
actually knows what science is. He's not able to defend it.
Huh?
Okay, Brett, how old is the Earth?
Oh, the scientists would say 13.4 billion years old.
But that's
More like 4.5 billion years old.
Wait. The scientists say that the Earth is 13 billion years old?
Yeah, 13.4 billion years old. The last time I heard a scientist say that's all the Earth is.
The Earth, not the universe. The Earth.
Well, yeah, the Earth, yeah.
Wow.
But that's
a lot different than 6,000.
No, but
I think you're off by a couple. I think you're off a little bit.
No, I was listening to a Christian apologist the other day, and he was debating a scientist, and William Lane Craig had said the same thing. William Lane Craig goes, yeah, scientists have the Earth right around 13.4 billion years old.
Wait a minute. Okay, you keep using this guy's name. Who is this?
William Lane Craig?
Billy Craig.
Michael knows who he is.
You know who that is? Michael. Billy Craig. I'm going to Google
Billy Craig. Yeah, look him up.
Dude,
Billy Craig. You've never heard of him.
He's world famous. But anyway, but when you say the Earth is 13.4 billion years old, they can't prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's why I don't bother with those evolution and those far off numbers. They sound cool, but
So, people rising from the dead. Can you prove that's not possible beyond a reasonable doubt?
it's not possible. You don't see it's done. It's impossible. I don't need a reason. It's unscientific, unmodern medicine. It cannot happen.
Wait, hold on. You can't just sit there and deny the science of evolution.
He said, I don't need a reason. I like this though.
Yeah, no.
Guys. He said,
it's reality.
I don't need a reason. It's reality.
It's reality.
Every time we want to defend our religious views, Roman Missile and his Catholic views, Jack Harkness and his Protestant views, whenever we want to defend our views, we'll just say, it's just the way it is. I don't need an argument.
I mean, it's just reality. God
it's just reality.
So raising people from the dead.
No. See,
it's just reality.
No. You see where Brett Strong wins and all you guys lose is this: is that when I say it's reality and doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. No, hang on, guys. If you want to come against me, fine, because I can handle that. Like I said, I've dealt with Frank Turk, Greg Ucole, Faz Rana, many more. If you guys want to go that way, hang on, just let me speak. If you guys want to go that way, I win 100% of the time. Because I'm telling you that your God does not exist, your Jesus does not exist, and those miracles does not exist. Now, reality shows us that you cannot prove those things. No, hang on. No. Will you? Okay, let me finish. Reality backs me. Science backs me. Modern medicine backs me. No. Will you? You're not letting me finish. Hey, guys.
How do you know if science?
Guys, you're not letting me finish. Hey, you're not letting me finish. I'm saying this. This is a fact that any scientist speaking as a scientist would tell you, and I've said this before, Michael, before everyone came on. Any scientist speaking as a scientist, all scientists agree with me. You cannot prove God exists, or some superhero God exists, or Jesus exists, or hell exists, or heaven exists. Those are all by faith. And any scientist or doctor speaking about as a doctor, they would tell you they've never seen skeletons rise from the grave and walk into a city. These things back me, not you. So if you want to say
You know what's funny, actually, Brent? I actually agree with everything you said. You want to know why? Because scientists who make a declarative statement about the existence of God or the existence of the afterlife are not doing science. But you want to know something? It doesn't matter because that topic is not part of their field.
Yes, it is. They study the material world.
Brilliant.
No. Yes, it is.
That's like a cook talking about art.
No, because scientists
That's
study.
like a cook talking about painting.
No, hang
It's
on.
like Justin Bieber talking about Mozart. Or
No.
I don't know.
No, they rapped. They rapped.
If I wanted to get opinion about politics, I should go to a comedian.
Yeah, why do you think? Actually, yes.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We walked into that incorrectly. Anyway, Brett, yeah.
Yeah, scientists,
So-
medicine backs me, not you guys. So if you guys want to claim that you don't have to prove God exists, fine, because that backs me, because you can't prove it. Just like I said, miracles don't happen, and you say, well, prove it. Well, the proof is you can't find it in reality, just like your God. So if you want to go my route, you lose.
You'll know God exists.
No, all you guys lose, and you know it. So I want you to say, I'm going to do what Brett Strong does. Good, because your God doesn't exist. That's why you can't prove it. That's why you have to jump on my side, because my side says it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And if you say your God is real, but you don't have to prove it, fine, because you don't have to prove it, because your God cannot be proved because he doesn't exist. So it works for me, guys. Great.
That's a circular argument.
I don't even know if
That's a fact.
It's a very sexy circular argument.
That's a fact.
Circular
That was a
argument.
sexy
Don't know
circle.
where to begin.
Yeah, it was.
It's a fact.
It's so incredibly circular.
No, it's not circular. It's a fact.
What's a fact?
A fact is reality. What corresponds to
What's
reality?
reality?
Oh, okay, Brett. Let me.
No, what is reality?
Explain to you why it's circular. God doesn't exist because God is not part of reality. God is not part of reality, therefore God doesn't exist.
No. Okay. Well, then let's throw out your Bible then, Roman Missile, because your Bible has God coming down
Hold on,
as a
I'm
man
gonna throw it out right
in
now.
the flesh. He has God comes down talking to Jacob as a man. He has Jesus come down as a man, and he proved himself again and again according to the Bible. But reality, we get nothing. So if you want to say God is not part of reality, then throw out your Bible, Roman Missile. Fine, your God is overdone. You're worshiping some other God. No. You just said God is not a part of reality. No.
How does that prove that God doesn't
Roman, you just said that God is not part of reality, and throw out your Bible because of the Bible. He is all of reality. You just said it,
I did
Roman.
not say that.
You said he's not part of the reality. You can't.
No, I said that. Okay. No, No, I said that if you take out the Bible, does that prove that God does not exist? No, obviously no. It would just prove that Christianity is false.
And that's what we're here for. Cool. Fine. Christianity is false. Why are we talking anymore? I agree with you. It's done. Thank
Because
you.
you still are arguing against the concept of God.
I'm not arguing. I'm speaking. See, the thing is, you guys are arguing. I'm speaking fact. That's why I trump you guys.
You're still making an argument because you haven't even defined what you mean by
The
fact.
fact is, you cannot prove that your God exists, or Jesus, or God, or heaven, or hell. Your main basis of your religion is improvable, which makes sense because they're fiction.
I'm not even going to bother defending my religion because I think the topic itself is kind of nonsense since we're just sticking to the concept of being.
Nonsense. Okay, well, why do Christian apologists are always trying to prove God exists? Why are they arguing for Jesus? Why do Christian? No, I didn't say you.
Well, hold up. Christians are always trying to prove God exists because there's money in it.
Well, they're always.
That's true.
I know you don't make a lot of money, Jack. Your main money is.
Well, thank you for letting everyone know
passage.
that. I appreciate it.
So your intentions are pure, but most people like William Lane Craig and such, they're trying to make money off of a nice audience.
Well, they make a lot of money,
Well,
but
you know what? If we all actually listened to Brett Strong a minute ago when he told us to throw our Bibles out the window, if we did that, we would all become immoral monsters. So please do not throw your Bibles out the window.
why do you say that when Dan Barker said only 0.05 atheists are in prison? The rest are religious.
Isn't that the host of the Price is Right, Dan Barker? What? Who is this?
No, that's an atheist, Dan Barker. So if you want to throw out your Bible,
Wait, so
fine.
the host of Price is Right is an atheist? Bob Barker. Bob Barker.
Dude, that's why I like you so much, Noah. Dude, you're funny, dude. You should be a comedian for real.
I really should. It's almost like none of this is really happening. But you know, I thought that they were the same person. Okay, so what does Dan Barker say? He's the father.
Oh,
you're just messing with me. The father.
No.
of Dan Barker. You guys are horrible. You guys are horrible.
No, Dan.
You guys are trolling me
No.
so well. Wow.
No,
Wow.
Dan Barker.
Okay, so go ahead.
Dan Barker was in a debate with a Christian. Is that Michael laughing his ass off, dude? That's awesome. Let him laugh, man. The Price is Right, man. Only Noah can pull that
I
off.
get confused. I'm sorry. Okay, so wait, let's get back on track. So
That
Dan
is pretty
Barker
funny,
said
dude.
What, Brett?
Oh, he said that only 0.05 atheists are in prison. The rest are religious people. So if you want to talk about throwing the Bible and you become immoral, no, because most prisoners, anybody knows that most prisoners are Christians in America. Yeah, most people in prison are Christians.
I actually,
that's a fact.
They're atheists.
No, they're
Can I correct that?
they're confessing Christians.
Most Americans are Christians too.
Well, hey, we're talking about people in prison.
Americans going to American prison.
Yeah,
it makes sense that most of them would be Christian.
Yeah.
Brent, I think you're a Muslim.
Oh, and that's fine. Muslims are cool people. They never did anything to me here in America, per se myself. Christians are the ones who enslaved black Africans. Christians are the ones that genocided the Indians. Christians are the ones that did the witch hunt and burnt people alive in the name of Jesus.
But you know that the Christians also freed themselves from slavery. That would include people like Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, and Christians also genocided the Indians in the name of God, and they enslaved Africans in America in the name of God.
Wait,
Christians did this.
Genocided? You're using it as a verb. Is that a word?
Yeah,
Genocided?
no, it's a word.
It's not a word.
It's a word I created.
Yeah, but it's not proper English.
They wiped out. Okay,
Genocided the Indians.
Using the language improperly.
Christians wiped out the Indians, American Indians.
Does being genocided exist?
No, he's misusing the language.
No, I'm using it in my own terms.
Genocided the Indians, but you know what? And I said this to you in our debate. Brett. Imagine what would have happened if they were atheists that came over.
Yeah, everything would have been cool, you know.
No, they would have eaten them. That's what would have happened.
Hey, prove to me atheists eat people. Prove to me. Show me. Show me examples in history where people are saying I'm an atheist and I eat people. Show me, because I can show you in history.
I'll give you,
No. Show me.
Google Hangout right now.
What?
Okay, so
It's in this Google Hangout right now.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but basically,
me neither.
I said this in one of our earlier debates, Brett. I told you it's anecdotal, so bear with me. But I told you before I did the youth group stuff, I actually I watched over kids in at our church, kind of like 5-6-year-olds all the way up to 8. And I remember watching them and play and stuff while the main service was going on. I remember thinking to myself, if God doesn't exist and this Bible isn't true, I could eat one of these kids and it would be totally fine. And that actually seemed like something that was a legitimate option for me if there is no God. So, and it's because there's no one there to hold you accountable for those things. So atheism logically leads to the fact that you could eat, to the possibility of you eating children. In fact, not just the possibility, the probability. So I'm giving you a personal anecdotal account of this.
Hey, Jacob said it's false.
Many, Brett, that agree with me.
Hey, Jacob's against you, Noah.
Excuse me. Why would that be the case?
Because just because someone is an atheist doesn't mean it does not follow that you can it means that they'll start eating babies.
I mean, it's more likely, right? But it's more likely, right?
No, not really.
So
Noah, he's got you. Roman missiles got you, Noah.
No, look. The closer you get to before Jesus, right? The more likely you are to eat babies. And here's my reasoning: the Catholics have the oldest tradition going back to the closeness of Jesus, and they actually eat Jesus every Sunday. So they're getting closer to the time when Jesus didn't exist. And when he didn't exist, when there were no Christians, the world was an awful place, and people used to do those sorts of things. But I think that the logic is not that they're going to Roman missiles. It's not like every single person who becomes an atheist is going to eat people. That's not what I'm saying.
No, you're misunderstanding me. Look, the thing is, okay,
I would, but
no. Here's the idea is that just because if there's no God, I mean that everything is permissible, it does not mean that everything is
edible.
Viable. Thank you. So, like, if you were an atheist and you started eating babies, what would be the consequences of that action?
Different types of hot sauce would come out. I mean, there'd be a lot of different things that would happen. Probably go to jail. Oh, I know what would happen. The prisons would have a much higher incidence of atheists in them. So paradoxically, the more atheists that
I love you, Noah, man.
increases the more it increases the atheists in the prison system. So it's that big of a spiral, guys. So this is why we don't want atheists. We don't want atheists because they're more likely to hurt children, eat children, cannibal. I told you guys this. Sweden has the highest rate of cannibalism in the world, and they're the most secular. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Hey, Noah, can I put this on YouTube? That part about atheists eating babies.
I can't breathe.
Dude, I gotta put that. Okay, I'm gonna put that on YouTube, dude.
But you have to give me credit, and my name is Jack Harkness. You got to spell it right.
Okay, cool. I gotta put that 30-second segment. Atheists eat babies.
Excellent.
Jack?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Jesse Ventura?
Is that a porn star? No, I don't know who that is.
He was the governor of Minnesota. He was an atheist.
Okay, so he's clearly done some bad things. So what's the point of this?
He was a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he was a wrestler too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask you a question. He was the governor of Minnesota, if I remember correctly. Does that mean that he eats babies?
No, I just got done explaining this. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to eat babies. Although he is a politician, so it's probably more likely. But, no, I don't think that they
I agree with that statement.
Babies. Yeah, I don't think they have to eat babies. But what I'm saying is it makes it more likely. There.
That was one of the stupidest arguments I've ever heard.
You know what?
I don't know. Politicians and babies sounding pretty likely right now.
Me and Roman Missile agree. Wow, Roman Missile, I agree with you, dude.
Both of you will likely go to hell. But that's okay.
Roman Missile, he told you you're gonna go to hell. What do you say about that?
It's okay. Jesus loves you, Jack.
Look, I will pray for you, Jack.
Thank you.
Not only that, we'll ask Mary to pray for you too.
Yeah, that's what Catholics do. They pray to Mary. It's a very heathenistic thing that they do.
Wow.
It's okay because Mary loves you.
Look, I take offense to that.
Get him, Roman.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Look,
isn't this a part of your Bible? Don't when you open up the Catholic Bible, it says only pray to Mary and put Jesus in the background? Isn't that like sort of what Catholicism is all about?
No, wrong. Wrong.
Well, I may have to study up more on Catholicism. I do know that they eat Jesus, which is very close to atheism. So I'm kind of worried about actually studying it more, just because.
Well,
yeah.
If you want to be semantical, yes, we quote unquote eat Jesus.
That's scary. Why
is that scary?
Because I don't want to eat people's flesh. I might as well. If I wanted to do that, I would basically read Richard Dawkins' book and become an atheist.
Are you?
If he wanted to do that, he would just eat babies.
Are you familiar with John 6?
Is that an author? John 6?
No, John, the book, the Gospel, John, chapter 6.
Oh, the Gospel of John, chapter 6. Yes.
Verse 54.
Okay,
Unless
read it to
you
me.
eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you.
That's the first time I think I've heard that. I mean, no. I'm sorry. This is this is the verse we use for communion, although we don't actually take it literally.
Yeah, we take it literally.
See, this is why I can never be a Catholic.
Wow. Did you know that the early church believed that?
I do now.
Some even called it the medicine of immortality.
I recommend you read, Justin Martyr. Read the works of Maximus the Confessor. I recommend reading.
These are just weird names.
I suggest Ignatius of Antioch.
These people all have titles, I'm noticing.
Yes, just read them. Trust me.
Okay.
But you're Jack Harkness of California, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a title. I mean, you could call me that, I guess.
You're Jack of California.
Jack of California. That sounds very weird.
You're from California, right?
Yes, I'm from California.
We should go by your hometown. It's more specific.
Yeah, well, I'm going to warn you. It is filled with homosexuals. I'm in Long Beach, and we have a very high population.
Jack of Long Beach. You are Jack
correct.
of Long Beach.
Jack of Long Beach works. And this is very off topic. Roman. Yeah, no, you're right. Roman, absolutely. I will. I'll read some more about the martyrdom of Justin and all those other things. I'm going to write this down. So I appreciate that. It could just be that I don't know very much about Catholic thought. But then again, I am a Protestant for a reason. So.
I don't even know what to say.
Okay.
Well, this has been a very fruitful discussion. I learned that I need to read more about Catholicism, and that basically Brett Strong thinks that the world's 14 billion years old.
No, hang on, Noah. So are you still saying that Roman missile is going to hell? Do you believe that?
I think it's possible.
No,
Yeah, I think it's possible.
do you believe
he may go to heaven? I don't know. I'm actually going to answer the question with a question mark. I don't know.
Because a minute ago you said he was going to go to hell.
Yeah, I'm going to take a more conservative approach, Brett, and say maybe.
Why do you think I'm going to hell?
I said maybe.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Why do you believe I'm going to hell?
Say it again. People are laughing at the fact that you're going to burn for an eternity. Go ahead.
Why do you think I'm going to hell?
I don't think you're necessarily going to hell. I said it's possible.
Why do you think it's possible?
Because in my interpretation of the Bible, people do go to hell. And those are certain people who are not saved by the grace of God. And you may not be saved by the grace of God.
Wow. Noah's not saved by the grace of God?
I'm debating it. Yeah, no, I've actually kind of been edging towards Calvinism, yes.
You don't know that Calvinism is a theologically bankrupt theology, right?
Well, you think that. I don't think that.
Let's move this discussion back to Brett. Hey,
No.
Brett.
This is too fun. No.
I'm wondering, do you believe in free will?
No. Hang on. In a minute.
You don't believe in free will?
No. Hang on. I was enjoying Roman Missile challenge Noah about going to hell. I want to hear that one out
Okay,
first.
wait a minute. Whoa. Who is Noah?
Well, Jack, whatever you. I'm Noah's on my screen, dude. So
Yes, but you know what? I think we've had 4 debates where I've explained this to you.
okay, why do
This
you
is not
have
my
Noah
account.
then? Just put
I
Jack.
told you this. This is my friend. I use my friend's account. I don't have my own account. This is like a paid account.
Okay, cool. Okay,
So-
fine. Okay, fine, Jack. No, I want to get back to Roman Missile. You said that he had a possibility of going to hell, and he said why. He asked you a direct question. Why do you think it's possible he's
And I
going to hell?
answered it.
What was your
And I
answer?
answered it.
What was your answer?
My answer. Okay, so my answer is, on my view, there are certain people that go to hell, and those people are the people who are not under the grace. The technical term is the salvific redemption of Jesus Christ, and it could be the case that Catholics, like Roman missiles, fall under that category.
So
Could be. I'm taking a very conservative
Hey,
approach.
Jack, have you ever even watched my
Case that I fall under that. I don't think I do, but it could be the case that I fall under that. In fact, I am almost positive I don't. There's no way God would send me to hell. But the point is,
but he might send Roman Missile to hell.
for
Look, Jack,
Huh?
have you ever seen my videos on YouTube?
yeah, they're pretty
Okay,
good.
well, how much of them do you agree or disagree?
I agree with almost none of them, but that doesn't mean they're not good.
Wow.
Wow, dude. That's a diss, Roman Missile.
I'm confused. Is that surprising? I have to agree with everything you say
No, I
in
did
order
not
for it
say
to be
that.
good.
I'm-
This is why I'm not a Catholic. This right here. This is why I'm not a Catholic. Unbelievable.
Wow. So Roman Missile, what do you say
you know
about
what? I
him
changed
saying
my
that?
mind. Roman Missile. No, you know what? I changed my mind. Roman Missile, you are going to hell. Nope.
What? Roman Missile, are you gonna take that standing, dude? He said you're going to hell. What do you say about that, Roman Missile?
That's okay. He'll pray for.
I don't think I'm
Jack
going
when
to
he's
hell
in
because
vertical.
I have the magisterium.
But
and
you,
apostolic succession.
you're not gonna
So
argue
Jack
that?
is hell.
You're not gonna argue that with Jack that you're gonna go to hell, Roman Missile, and that Catholicism is
It
bankrupt.
sounds like Brett
Let me
likes
ask
this.
you a
Sounds like
question.
Brett thinks this conflict
No.
between Roman
Pretty
Missile
soon
and
Brett will be
like
Catholic.
Fun.
No, Jack, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
think I'm going to hell.
This is
Yeah.
better.
Why is it under your theology that under Calvinism you don't have the choice of whether or not you can go to hell to begin with?
Wait, Jack, you believe in free will and Calvinism too?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know necessarily. I'm juggling both issues.
Okay,
I don't know.
let me ask you another question. Do
Okay.
you believe you have the choice to accept Jesus into your heart?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you believe that we have free will?
Possibly.
But you don't. So you don't believe we have free will, but you still believe in the idea we can accept Jesus into our heart.
Yes.
So you're basically holding two ideas that contradict each other.
That is like all about Christianity. Christianity is about holding contradictory ideas. Like it's not
I don't
supposed
know
to
what
make sense.
do. So you agree with the idea of accepting Jesus into your heart, Yeah, you don't believe we have free will. How does that compute?
It doesn't compute.
What do you mean it doesn't compute?
It doesn't compute. Does a rock compute? I don't know how else to it doesn't compute.
Wow, Jack. Seriously?
Yes.
That's our Jack.
Jack, track down Veritas 48, I think it was, and talk to him.
What's his name? What's his name?
He's been gone from YouTube for a long time, but look for him. I'm sure we.
Look, Jack, I don't think
Veritas,
theology is consistent. I have seen recordings of you on my Facebook.
Yes.
And I noticed that you'll make these arguments where you'll contradict yourself a lot.
Well, it's beautiful. It's like a sexy circle. I mean, all of these are meant to convey the absurdity of belief in God, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't believe it just because it's absurd. I mean, look at Brett. Brett thinks that the Earth is 14 billion years old. I mean, everyone believes absurd things, right? He thinks there's no God, right? How unbelievably stupid and silly is that? Like, we agree with that.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, of course, that's the stupidest thing ever, but he believes it. It's just stupid, But the fact is, people believe stupid things, and in and of itself, that's there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
So you believe? So you would say that belief in that accepting of evolution is stupid?
Oh yeah, of course.
So you don't believe we share a common ancestor with other primates?
No.
Why?
Because I have never seen a dog turn into a human. Have you?
That's because evolution does not teach that that dogs evolve from humans.
No, I'm sorry. That's exactly what it teaches. If evolution were true, my little dog behind me would turn into a large male. I mean, so it would basically the point
It'd be a sexy male, though.
Yes. Well, yeah. It could be an ugly male.
If it was a sexy male, would you be convinced?
Yeah, think of it this way: if your dog could change into a male, guess what would happen? It would disprove evolution.
Yeah, that's a little crazy, but it could be a female, right? Like, it wouldn't have to be my female dog. If it turned into a male human, that would prove evolution to me, right? Like, that kind of change would do it. Now, if my female dog turned into a female person, I'd have my doubts.
That would disprove evolution instantly.
Why would it disprove evolution? It would prove evolution.
No, it would disprove it.
Why?
Because according to evolutionary theory, it states that
it's just a theory.
Different species of organisms adapt to their environment and change over time. So
yeah, like 5 minutes. Okay, time. 5 minutes.
Not in 5 minutes, but over like a long period of time, like millions of years. So, for example, the reason why we have so many similarities to other apes and other, say for example, orangutans, chimpanzees, monkeys, for example, is because if you take a look at the
I didn't come from any monkey.
Physical similarities, you can see that we share.
I don't look like a monkey, dude. Like, I didn't come from a monkey. You didn't come from a monkey.
Hold on, let me finish. Don't interrupt me, okay? Okay.
I came
let
from
me
a
finish.
monkey.
Okay.
Well,
so when
you're an
you
exception.
Okay. So you make. Okay. Can I finish, please?
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, when you look at the physical similarities between us and other primates, many questions were asked, like, okay, why do we share so many physical similarities to other apes? Like, so when you look at the evolutionary timeline, you see that there are different species of humans, such as, for example, Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and then Homo sapiens that came into being. If you look at the history of this evolutionary timeline, you see that a lot of these different species of primates started to evolve to their environment to the point where they started to diverge to other parts of the world, starting from Africa, to the point where one particular species of primates.
But why are apes still around? Thank you, Rain. Why are apes still around? Explain that.
They're still around because we did not, quote unquote, evolve from them, but that we share a common
This is
ancestor.
the most confusing explanation I've ever heard. Look, if a duck turns into a crocodile, you win. All right?
Okay, let me ask you a question then. Okay, let me answer that question with a question of my own. If we came from Europe, why are there still Europeans?
Because Eurotrash has to exist somewhere. So, I mean, it could be the case. It could be the case that a whole bunch of Europeans decided to stay there, and you know, I don't know why. I mean, you know, it's Europe. But you know, they just decided to stay there, and some came here.
Well, you apply that analogy, and you apply that to the evolutionary theory, and
So you're saying that Europeans are apes?
Yes, I am saying European.
I know, I knew it. I knew they were apes.
That's because we are apes.
No, you said Europeans are apes.
Look. We as as Homo sapiens, that's a scientific definition. You are an ape, and so am I.
No, Putin is an ape. I am not an ape.
Putin is.
Everybody should check out the meme. Just saying. Then you can continue.
That's hilarious. Thank you. This is the rudest thing I've ever seen. Look,
I'm trying to educate you on science, and you're here mocking me.
No, I'm not mocking you. You said that Europeans are apes, and I mean, I agree to a certain extent that Europeans are apes. I just don't think I'm an ape.
Well, you're an ape, whether you like it or not.
There's just no science to back that up. I think you could actually...
Here, take a look at your hands. Do you share a physical similarity to chimps?
Hell no. Excuse my language, but hell no. I'm looking at my hand, and if I Google the hand of an ape, it'll look like a European's hand, but it won't look like my hand.
Do you know that we share about 90 to 99% of our DNA with chimps?
That means very little to me.
Do you know
we share 99.8 with a banana, right? So I don't really. That doesn't mean anything.
We share more commonalities with a chimp.
Does Europe come from bananas? I mean, this is the most silliest theory I've ever heard in my life.
It's not a silly theory because it's true.
Okay, it's a silly true theory. I mean, it's just to me, there's no way in my right mind anyone with an ounce of intellect can believe something so silly.
Well, take a look at the fact that when we share around 99% of our genetics with other primates, what does that tell you?
That we have similar DNA. Freaking do.
Yes, and what does that logically conclude?
I logically conclude from that I share my DNA with all of these other things. That's it. That's all that follows from that.
So if that's true, then do they have a common ancestor?
No, they have a common designer. We've been down this road.
Common designer, common ancestry is semantics to me.
No. A common ancestor would be like an ape. A common designer means that God made us. Right, so that's why there's similarities in our structures.
Okay, so if you take the common ape that is our common ancestor, who created the common ape?
God.
Okay, so you can see that evolution does not contradict the belief in a common designer.
Well, it doesn't necessarily contradict the belief in a common designer. I just think it's a silly theory.
Science.
I don't mind denying science. What has science ever done for us?
It's using it built the computer you're using to have this conversation.
Okay, one thing.
Okay, video games.
You have a point. Checkmate, you win. Nope, that's it. Roman missiles wins. I concede. I concede. Science gave me my Wii U.
I haven't heard from him in a while. Here?
I really hope he is, because this conversation would be incredibly interesting were Brett not here to give his opinion.
Brett, are you still here?
Oh yeah, I'm hanging out, man. Enjoying the conversation.
You hanging out?
Yeah,
I think my theory is
I'm enjoying the
Brett
conversation.
Noah concedes science exists because of video games.
Yeah, I heard him conceded to Roman missile, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Roman missile's done what you have never been able to do. Just change his mind.
That's true, Brett. That's true. Roman missiles has done something you have never been able to do. He changes
Roman missile, he's on his road to Rome. That's review.
Well, that's why I shut up. That's why I shut up.
Rain is right. It took the way, Brett. Here's the. I'm gonna get really close to the mic, and I'm gonna tell you the secret to beating me in a debate. Talk about video games. That's That's all you have to do. Don't bring up, Alvin Plant or William Cran or
Billy
whatever.
Craigie.
Yeah, Cran, whatever. Don't William Cranman. You don't have to have those conversations. You just have to talk about video games, and he did that.
Cool.
William Cranberries. That's not his name, is it? William Cranberries? It sounds too. But yeah, that's all you got to do. Anyway, this was an interesting conversation. I had to actually concede I don't like this, and concede to a Catholic, no less.
Well, I know a lot about evolutionary. I don't claim to be an expert, but I know enough about it to actively defend it.
Yeah. Well, the truth is I'll have to, I should probably give more credit to science, or science is where the credit's due.
I recommend reading Dawkins' book. I think it would...
I should. Does he talk about Mario?
No.
All right, I'll think about it.
You should.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's a good conversation. This is interesting having Brett and Michael, and so we have like a Catholic, couple Protestants, and the rest of the people I'm not sure where they stand.
I am like a Protestant fundamentalist's worst nightmare. I am a Catholic, but also a political left-leaning liberal and an evolutionist too.
Wow. That's interesting. Cool. So it's kind of weird. Like we all kind of disagree, but we all kind of agree on things. I don't think any of us though will ever agree that atheism.
I have one more question for you, Jack.
Oh my God.
Okay. Question: is the Wii U an awesome video game console?
Oh, of course it is. The Wii U is how I know God exists. Jacob.
I'm planning to get a Wii U this holiday season.
You should.
You should get a 3DS and you should play Pokemon.
Yes, agreed.
Because Pokemon is kind of the greatest thing ever.
It is.
I was thinking about getting a PS4, but I decided that not the games don't interest me yet. I'll just get a Wii U.
Yeah, PS4's good too, but Wii U's pretty cool. Play all your old Wii games on it if you have any.
Oh yeah, plenty.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I have some. We have a Wii U in our youth ministry. Like when we have baptisms and stuff afterwards, and kids come up and we have like a communal one basically, where if they want to after a youth group or whatnot. I don't know if the Catholics do this. You guys are probably too busy burning incense, but basically we decide to sit down and play some video games and stuff after a youth group. So that's how we have a Wii U. That's one thing, though, that atheists don't have when you think about it, guys, is that atheists like Brett Strong don't have that kind of community to be able to come together and discuss their views kind of in a communal way like we do, right? So Catholics have their...
That's why.
Well, that's why they come to YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. They come to YouTube.
And Google.
They come to Google, to YouTube, and if they ever did come together, I would be very scared for the next generation of people because there would be much less babies. Mm-hmm. But,
No, hang on a second. As an atheist, I have a hot young wife, 2 beautiful kids, friends, mother, dad who loves me. So I'm more than fulfilled.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hot?
Oh man, she's got green eyes, blonde hair. Her father's black and her mother's white, so she's biracial.
Nope, you're right. That's a 10.
Oh yeah, everywhere we go, guys are like, "Holy cow, Brett, that's your wife." I go, "Yeah, like, dude, you're
so you
lucky."
married out of your league, basically.
Yeah. No, I'm an alpha male, so never out of my league. I'm not as good looking as her.
So you're what, an 11?
I said,
you're an 11?
No, I'm an alpha male, so I believe women.
No, so but she's a 10. You must be at least an 11.
No, I don't even rate myself because women are made for men. So
you're so far beyond rating. You should show us your face.
I'm just.
See, he agrees with us Christians.
I'm just
so
alpha male.
Women are made for men, and we agree.
Yeah, that's natural reality. Women are made for men. So so she's the peacock and I'm the strong one physically. So she's
women are complementary. It's not like I would say women are complementary. I would not say that women were made for men.
See, this Catholic always comes in and gives his opinion. Anyway, go ahead, Brett.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so you think there's something communal that you have as an atheist?
Dude, my life is so freaking fulfilled. I could cry, dude. Seriously, my life is so freaking fulfilled.
To hear that. No, but,
seriously, I don't even have enough time in a day for myself, let alone, like I said, 2 wonderful kids running around the house, a beautiful wife, in-laws, my parents love me, siblings, friends, work. My life is more than fulfilled, man. Dude, I'm so thrilled with my life. Absolutely love it. Oh, sales.
I can see that. I can see you as a salesperson.
So
So
I don't lack community or communion. A lot of my good friends are Christians. I just tell them flat out, hey, you want to believe in fairy tales, Jesus and God? Fine. Kids believe in Santa Claus. Cool, no problem.
That's so not condescending.
And you know what?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. See, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Michael said not at all. I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm going to church for Christmas and enjoy the fictional, nativity scene in church, where they sing and baby Jesus comes out. Dude, it's like going to, my atheist friend says, how can you go to church for that? I go, dude, did you go to Disney World? They go, yeah. Is it fiction? Yeah. Do you still enjoy it? Yeah. Okay. And they go, I get it. You do the same thing with Christianity. I go, yeah. I go to church with my friends once in a while, raise my hands and praise Jesus and God and go home like that. That was a good fictional time. Dude, freaking love it.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know you did that.
Dude, absolutely. I got Christian friends like, you want to go to church? Yeah, okay. Jesus and God, it's a nice fictional book. You want to believe Santa Claus is real? I don't care. Cool.
So do you, hold on.
I have no problem with that.
Wait, so when you're going, do you actually talk to them like that and say, yeah, I'd love to go to this place where you believe in this fictional thing? Do you actually say that to them like that, or do you keep
No, you know me. Come on. I absolutely, I tell them, dude, Jesus is a fictional superhero character and your God is fictional, but if you want to believe it, cool. And you want me to go to church, let's go. I take my whole family, man. We have a good time, man. You got free day. Check this out. You get free daycare. You get a free rock concert because this church has like 20,000 members. So, you get free daycare. You get a rock concert. Then you get coffee, Starbucks at the church. And then afterwards, there's a restaurant. There's an Olympic-sized swimming pool, basketball court.
So in other words, you basically lead your communal life off other Christians. So we found that established.
Hey, I get that. Hey, where can you go on a $90 million campus where everything's there for free? Basketball, Olympic pool, concert.
You are secretly a Christian.
No, I'm not. Hey,
You are secretly a Christian.
it's just like Disney World. It's fiction, but you have a great time. Hey, we all pay money to go see fictional
Christianity
movies.
is like a roller coaster to Brett, basically. It's like you go in, you have a good time, and you get off, and it's all over.
There you go, and you do it again.
Every week,
Yeah.
So it must be a good roller coaster.
No, I don't go every week. I go like maybe once a month when my friends invite me.
So he wants to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just what he says. You get on a good roller coaster, have fun, whee, and you go home.
What trips me out, what trips me out, Brett, is that when you go, you actually tell the people you're going with that you'll go and have a good time at their fictional place where they believe in a fictional deity, and they don't take that offensively at all. I'm just curious.
No, they don't. They just like, hey, cool. You know what? Maybe Jesus is a God to change your mind. Yeah. They play Chris Tomlin, How Great Is Our God. I stand up and raise my hand with everybody else. I take the bread of communion. Bread and the juice. And hey, you want to lay hands on me? They walk around sometimes, lay hands.
Man. It's
cool.
free food. No, I get it.
No problems, dude. It's fun, dude. It's like I said, if I can give kids the courtesy to believe in Santa Claus and not, make fun of it, and as far as like, well, that, I consider it the same thing. Humans believe in Santa Claus. Humans believe in space aliens. Humans believe in Jesus of God and other gods. So no problem. My thing is the dogma. If you listen to my channel, I don't have a problem with Christians believing in Jesus and God. Fictional characters, cool. You believe it's real, no problem. My problem is dogma. You're going to hell.
I'm right there with you. You sound like the most undogmatic person I've ever come across. So I understand how this. Yeah. No. Yeah. But and you're right. The problem is dogma. You don't want to believe something so strongly that that you lose track of reality.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's my thing. Hey, enjoy it. No problem. I have no problem.
Exactly.
So that's why I don't, as you know, I don't tell Christians not to be Christians. I don't. I tell Christians to stay Christians. I tell them, don't become an atheist. Just stop the dogma.
Believe the fairy tales. It's fun.
Yeah,
the fairy tales.
Dude,
I get you.
Dude, life is hard. We all know life is hard. And it gets harder as you get older. So if people need Jesus or God or the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, or whatever God, Allah, Brahma, Christian, if they need whatever they need to get by in life, I'm all for it. Just don't sit there and tell me I'm going to go to hell and I'm going to burn and, you know, my God is mad at you and you got to believe in my Jesus. Then I'm going to call you on it. I'm going to say you can't prove any of that. That's why when I talk to Frank Turk, he knows where I'm going. I talk to Greg Kuko. He knows where I'm going. Fun-rowdy. And I get to the point.
Coco?
Yeah, Coco. Yeah, Coco.
These apologists have the weirdest names.
Yeah, so J. Warner Wallace, I debated him on radio. Same thing. Dude, you know, stop the dogma. But, you know, I like Jesus. Dude, how can you not like Jesus? He partied with notorious sinners. People hated him because of that. He had
He's a gangster.
Yeah, he had a hot prostitute on his feet, rubbing his feet in an exotic manner. Dude, man.
With you.
He gave the middle fingers to the religious leaders saying, you guys are a bunch of scum. Dude, how could...
Wait, where's the verse for that? He gave the middle finger? Are you serious?
Well, I'm being metaphoric when I say that.
Figurative. Got it. I'm Protestant. I'm so
Yeah,
literal.
no.
Okay,
So it's awesome, dude. How can you not like Jesus, man? I mean, Jesus is an awesome character. You know, but when people say he's gonna, you know, burn you in hell and, you know, you're condemned by his words, then I'm gonna say, dude, you can't prove any of that. And that's the easiest thing about Christianity that I love is that I can call them on any of their beliefs and I know they can't back it. I can just say, you can't prove your God exists, or Jesus, or heaven, or hell. And all my Christian friends can see that and they shut up. Because I get to the bottom. Like, dude, if you want to get dogma, just prove to me your God, Jesus, or heaven, or hell exists. You can't. I've done it to Greg Kuko. I've done it to Brett Kuko. I've done it to J. Warner Wallace. I've done it to Frank Turk.
Kuko. What? Okay. I'm going to Google these people's name. I'm going to Google Kuko. This is the weirdest conversation I've ever had.
No, but he knows you by name. I call on his radio once in a while. But he knows, he's like, he'll concede that now. He will concede flat out. He'll, yeah, Brett's wrong. I cannot prove empirically, experimentally, or mathematically God, Jesus, heaven, or hell. He says it now. He doesn't even bother debate me anymore because he knows. He's like, okay, I can't. So we can.
I can understand.
So,
you're a very strong debater.
Well,
and it's very tiring.
Well, he just says, well, let's have an argument, but I can't prove it. You're right, Brett. He gives in to me. So what atheists don't realize is this. Atheists don't realize that science, modern medicine, reality backs the atheist, not the Christian. So my message is to atheists, like, dude, you know what? Reality backs atheists. Science backs atheists. Modern medicine backs atheists. Reality backs atheists. Nothing backs the Christian outside of faith. That's the beauty of it. Christians are easy to debate.
One question: you've recorded all this, right? I think we've had a lot of good talk, and I want to know that you've recorded it.
Yeah.
You recorded? You're gonna post it?
Yeah. You want me to?
Yeah. Post it.
Yeah.
Post it. Totally.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, this has been a good conversation, Brent. I think what you should do is you should post this on your. I don't mind. I don't think any of the people in here would really mind. I actually, now that I'm clicking their names, I actually know the people in here. So yeah, I don't think they'd mind. So go ahead and you can post this to your channel if you want. I mean, I don't know if it's like the stuff you like to talk about, but
yeah, hey, cool, no problem. Or I could send it. Is this Michael?
Yeah, this is Michael.
Oh, I could just send it to you. Hey, you have it. You
do that.
You got an email or something?
Here we go. There we go. It's on the chat.
This is what it's all about, guys. It's all about.
It's where I don't see it. Hang on, I don't see it.
Hang on.
Michael, I don't see it.
Yeah, you don't see the chat. You don't see the chat.
I just see crash coming up like on my screen. I don't see. I don't see the chat.
On the left-hand side, Brett, there should be a little toolbar with the chat. Or actually, is it on the top? It should be on the left. There's a chat.
Okay, is it the first one with the orange on it?
No, it's the one right under. It's blue.
Okay, cool. Okay, where is it?
It's at the very bottom.
Bottom. Oh, stray doggy wog. All right, hang on a second. I'm gonna shut up and write it down. Hang on. No, I'm gonna just paste it to my Word. Hang on. Let me open a Word and paste it.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, but I was good. That's what I was saying. This is cool. This has been a very fun conversation. Unfortunately, that annoying Catholic left a little while ago, but this has been a really good conversation.
Hey.
Okay, all right.
About him, he is sexy.
No, he is.
He's a sexy man.
Dude, that was the funnest part of the conversation was you and Roman Mystic.
He has a beard.
Dude, that was the funnest part of the conversation.
I know, it's, yeah.
I enjoyed it
agree.
more than
I agree.
anything. He's like, he
held my feet to the fire.
Oh, he did. I've debated him twice, so I knew he was gonna hold your feet to the fire.
He commits you to fire. Yeah, he's good science too. So it's very good when you've had time to recuperate and think about what you believe. It'll be good to see what you see.
Yeah, I'm going to think about it and see. I mean, he held my feet so close to the fire, I might have been the one burning in hell. Am I right? But yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, well, I'm gonna talk to him after this, and maybe we'll film something else, me and him, about our differences in Catholic and Protestant theology.
You should.
But I thought overall it was a good conversation.
Yeah, and he apologized, so I'm gonna have to give him a PM and saying big ups because me and him, we decided not to speak to each other, so I was surprised to see him pop up. Because I was posted on his site of replies, and he banned me from our we did a YouTube thing, and so I was posting on it, and he banned me from his YouTube channel. So I'm like, dude, seriously? I'm like, cool.
Well, anywho, I'm gonna say goodnight to you all.
Yes, me too.
No, we're all gonna say goodnight.
Please,
no, we're all gonna say goodnight.
Please post this.
Or I'll send it to
I'd
you.
like to see. I'd like to see it too. I didn't record this, Brett. So if you have it, that'd be great.
Yeah, cool. Michael, man, it's good talking to you. You're a cool guy, man. And who's that? Who's Ryan? Ryan. Who's that guy? Ryan.
He's just here. He's a stalker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a stalker. Basically,
he watches porn on the PS4. Don't listen.
Yes, So we can disregard anything he has to say because he watches porn.
Well, there's nothing wrong with porn. I mean, hey, just people having sex.
Now we have another topic. We have another topic for today.
We're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah.
All right then.
I need to leave because I'm on the East Coast. So.
Oh, what part of the East Coast? I'm in New York.
The other side of it.
What, Buffalo? Long Island?
No, down south. I'm from the South. I'll just leave it at that.
Pennsylvania? Carolina?
Pennsylvania.
He knows the whole state very well.
Florida?
Florida.
All right then, guys. Hey, it's been great talking to you guys, and Michael, I'll send you an email, okay? I mean,
all right, thank
or
you very much.
I'll either post it or send you an email, and you can post it on your channel, okay?
All right, cool.
All right, peace, guys. Take care.
All right, bye, Brett.
Hey, Jack, it was fun, man. Later.
All right, later.